Welcome, everyone. We're diving deep today into Islamic belief, and I am excited about the material we have to work with. Excerpts from Sahih Bukhari, Book 2 on Belief, plus a few episodes of the Echoes of Ihsan Podcast. We've got a lot to uncover, some real gems, I think.
Sahih Bukhari is considered one of the most trusted collections, of the Prophet Muhammad's sayings and actions. So it's a fantastic place to start for anyone wanting to understand, the core of Islamic thought.
Absolutely, a fantastic place to start. So I am really curious to get your take on this, especially as we unpack these hadiths. Let's just jump right in with hadith number 7, which lays out the 5 pillars of Islam. It's like a roadmap, isn't it?
Yeah, you could say that. It's a framework for a Muslim's, their entire life, guiding their actions, shaping their relationship with God. It starts with the testimony of faith, the declaration of belief in one God, Allah, and acceptance of Muhammad as his prophet. It's the bedrock, the foundation of everything.
Wow, it's like setting your compass, aligning yourself with a specific belief system. What I find fascinating is that, the pillars start with this very, personal, internal declaration of faith. They quickly move into actions, practices that are very much outward-facing.
That's a great point. That outward expression of faith is central to Islam. Take prayer, for instance. Performing the 5 daily prayers, it's not just a ritual, it's a direct connection with God, a moment of surrender and seeking guidance.
And then you have zakat, which goes beyond that personal relationship with God, to encompass social responsibility. Giving a portion of your wealth to charity, ensuring the well-being of your community, that's an integral part of faith.
It is, precisely. It's a recognition that wealth is a blessing from God and should be shared to alleviate suffering and create, a more equitable society.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. Have you ever had the chance to speak to anyone who's performed Hajj?
I have, actually. And their stories were incredible. It seems like more than just a physical journey. It's a deeply spiritual and communal experience, isn't it? Gathering with millions from all walks of life, united by faith.
Exactly. It's a humbling experience, a reminder of the equality of all believers before God. And lastly, we have fasting during Ramadan.
Now, this one is interesting because the concept of fasting, denying yourself something physically to cultivate something spiritually, it resonates across different religions and even secular practices, doesn't it?
It does. It's a powerful practice. Self-discipline and reflection. Abstaining from food and drink from dawn till dusk. It allows you to focus on prayer, contemplation, and strengthening your connection with God. It also cultivates empathy for those less fortunate.
So these 5 pillars really paint a picture, don't they, of what it means to live as a Muslim. But what really struck me as I was going through Sahih Bukhari is that it doesn't stop there. Hadith number 8 expands the concept of faith, saying it has over 60 branches, with Haya as a key component. This is where we go beyond the rituals and into something much deeper, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. This hadith really challenges the idea that faith is just about outward actions. It highlights the importance of inner qualities, ethical conduct, the way you interact with the world around you. And Haya, which encompasses modesty, self-respect, and consideration for others, it's at the heart of it.
I have to admit, when I first read about Haya, I immediately thought of modest dress. But it seems like it goes so much deeper than that.
You're right. It's much more than just outward appearances. It's about cultivating a sense of humility, decency, and respect in all aspects of life. It's how you speak, how you treat others, even how you think.
So it's about aligning your inner and outer self, ensuring that your actions reflect your beliefs and values. This really resonates with the emphasis on avoiding harming others, both physically and verbally, as highlighted in Hadiths 9 and 10.
Exactly. Haya is about embodying a deep respect for yourself and for others. It's about recognizing the dignity of every human being and treating them accordingly.
It's fascinating how these hadiths kind of build on each other, painting a picture of the Muslim ideal. Hadiths 9, 10, 11, and 12. They all point towards qualities like kindness, compassion, generosity, and peace.
Right. They emphasize the social dimension of faith, the importance of living out your beliefs, in the way you treat others. It's not enough to just focus on your individual connection with God. You must extend that connection outward, create a ripple effect of goodness in the world.
Oh, this reminds me of something I heard on the Echoes of Ihsan podcast. They were talking about how our actions, even, seemingly small ones, have a ripple effect, impacting not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of humanity, realizing that our actions have consequences that extend far beyond ourselves.
Absolutely. And this interconnectedness is beautifully captured in the concept of wishing for your brother what you wish for yourself. As mentioned in Hadith 11, it's about empathy, about seeing others as an extension of yourself.
It is, exactly. It's about transcending selfishness and embracing a more holistic view of humanity, realizing that our well-being is intertwined with the well-being of others.
Now let's shift gears a bit to a topic that I found both intriguing and challenging. The concept of love, as presented in Hadith 13, 14, and 15. I was struck by the intensity of these statements, especially the one about loving the Prophet Muhammad more than even your own family.
I understand why you might find that surprising. It's a concept that often generates a lot of questions, even controversy. But it's crucial to understand it within the context of Islamic belief. Love for the Prophet in this sense is about recognizing him as the messenger of God, the one who brought divine guidance to humanity.
So it's not about replacing love for family, but rather about understanding the Prophet's unique role in revealing God's message and expressing that love through following his teachings.
You got it. It's about aligning your life with the divine will. As revealed through the Prophet, it's about striving to embody his example of compassion, justice, and devotion to God.
That makes a lot more sense. Aligning your heart, your actions with the divine, recognizing the Prophet as the conduit for that connection.
Precisely. And this love manifests in following his teachings, emulating his character, striving to live a life that pleases God. It's a profound and transformative love, a driving force for spiritual growth and submission to the divine will.
It makes me think about how the concept of love plays a central role in many faith traditions, doesn't it? Driving devotion, inspiring acts of service and selflessness.
You're absolutely right. Love in its various forms can be a powerful motivator for spiritual growth, for seeking connection with something greater than ourselves.
But, as with any journey, the path of faith is not always smooth sailing. I was struck by the honesty, the realism within these hadiths. They don't shy away from acknowledging the struggles and challenges that come with trying to live a faithful life.
Right. The hadiths offer a nuanced and a realistic view of the human experience, recognizing that faith is not a static state, but rather a dynamic journey with its ups and downs. We see this reflected in Hadith 18, where the Prophet talks about a time when Muslims might have to flee with their religion from afflictions.
And then in Hadith 19, we see the Prophet himself grappling with the weight of his responsibility, acknowledging his human limitations and the constant need to seek God's forgiveness.
These hadiths are incredibly humanizing, aren't they? They remind us that even prophets, those chosen by God, are not exempt from challenges and doubts. They too must constantly strive to align their lives with the divine will.
Hadith 19 was particularly powerful for me. The Prophet's reaction when his companions suggest that Allah has forgiven his past and future sins, it's so raw and genuine.
It highlights his deep humility and awareness of his own fallibility. He recognizes that even as a prophet, he is not above seeking forgiveness and striving for righteousness.
It's a reminder that none of us are exempt from challenges and doubts, and that's okay. It's part of the human experience. What's encouraging is that amidst these challenges, the hadiths also offer a message of hope, of reward and forgiveness. They remind us that even in our imperfections, God's mercy is vast and encompassing.
And this brings us to a series of hadiths, starting with Hadith 21, which really delves into these themes of mercy and forgiveness. I find Hadith 21 particularly comforting. The idea that even those with the smallest amount of faith will eventually be saved from hellfire. It speaks volumes about the nature of God's compassion.
It is a powerful message of hope, isn't it? It suggests that even a flicker of belief, nurtured and tended to, can blossom into something transformative.
It's about recognizing that God's mercy extends to all of creation, even those who might have faltered or strayed from the path. But, and it's important to note this doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want and expect to be saved. The emphasis is still on striving for good deeds, on seeking God's pleasure, and on constantly working towards strengthening your faith.
So it's not about complacency, but about recognizing that even in our imperfections, God's mercy is available to us. It's about the constant effort to align our lives with the divine will, even when we fall short.
Exactly. It's about understanding that faith is a journey, and along that journey there will be stumbles, missteps. But God's forgiveness is always there for those who seek it sincerely.
And this brings us to the concept of intention, which seems to be woven throughout these hadiths. In Hadith 51, we see that even a simple act, like feeding your spouse, can be rewarded if done with the right intention. It's not just about the action itself, but about the motivation behind it.
Right. This is fundamental to Islamic ethics. The intention behind your actions, it carries immense weight. It's about aligning your heart with your actions, ensuring that your deeds are motivated by a sincere desire to please God.
So it's about infusing our everyday actions with a deeper meaning, a connection to something greater than ourselves, making every act, no matter how small, an act of worship.
Precisely. This concept of sincerity, it's at the heart of Islamic teachings. It's a reminder that true faith goes beyond outward appearances. It's about cultivating a pure heart and letting that purity guide your actions.
Listening to you explain this, I'm reminded of something the Echoes of Ihsan Podcast highlighted, the need to check our intentions constantly. It's so easy to get caught up in the routine of religious practice without really examining the state of our hearts.
That's a really great point. Self-reflection is essential. In cultivating sincerity, we need to constantly ask ourselves, why am I doing this? Is it for show, for recognition, or is it a genuine expression of my love for God?
It's challenging, but it's necessary. This constant striving to align our inner and outer selves. And this leads us perfectly into the next topic. The stark contrast between true faith and hypocrisy, as described in Hadiths 32 and 33.
Ooh, these hadiths are a wake-up call, aren't they? They force us to confront the potential for hypocrisy within ourselves, to examine our actions and motivations carefully.
The descriptions are quite blunt, painting a picture that's the opposite of the Muslim ideal we've been discussing. A hypocrite is someone who lies, breaks promises, betrays trust, and behaves in an insulting manner when quarreling. It's like looking in a mirror and seeing a distorted reflection of the qualities we're striving to embody.
They serve as a warning, these hadiths, against the dangers of allowing outward actions to become disconnected from genuine faith. They remind us that true faith is not a static achievement, but rather a constant struggle to align our hearts and actions with God's will.
It's a powerful message to conclude on, one that encourages introspection and a deeper understanding of what it truly means to live a life of faith.
It's a message that resonates across faith traditions, challenging us to move beyond empty rituals and embrace a more sincere and authentic expression of our beliefs.
I find it fascinating how these hadiths, though centuries old, are still so relevant today. They address universal human struggles, prompting us to examine our own hearts and strive for a deeper connection with the divine.
They offer a timeless roadmap for navigating the complexities of faith, reminding us of the importance of intention, action, and the constant striving to align our lives with God's will. As we kind of continue to explore Book 2 of Sahih Bukhari, you'll notice a recurring theme, the importance of embodying faith in our daily lives. It's not enough to, simply believe, We must act on those beliefs, let them guide our interactions with others.
Yeah, it's like if faith is a verb, not just a noun. And that brings to mind Hadith number 27, where the Prophet Muhammad is asked about, the best deeds. His answer is surprisingly simple: feeding the poor and greeting people, whether you know them or not.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's a reminder that sometimes the most impactful actions are the simplest acts of kindness and connection. It highlights the social dimension of faith, the idea that our relationship with God should be reflected in how we treat others.
It's about recognizing that inherent dignity
Right.
of every human being
Yeah.
and extending a hand of friendship, of compassion, regardless of social status or background.
Exactly. It's about building bridges of understanding, fostering a sense of community, creating a world where everyone feels valued and respected.
Speaking of community, Hadith number 16 highlights the special bond between those who migrated to Medina with the Prophet Muhammad and the Ansar, the people of Medina who welcomed them. The love for the Ansar is described as a sign of faith, while hatred for them is a sign of hypocrisy.
Yeah, and this hadith speaks to the importance of unity and solidarity within the Muslim community. It acknowledges the sacrifices made by those who left their homes and the generosity of those who welcomed them.
It's a reminder, isn't it, of the importance of hospitality, of welcoming those in need, regardless of their background. In a world where division and prejudice are so prevalent, this message feels more relevant than ever.
Absolutely. It encourages us to look beyond our differences, embrace our shared humanity, recognize that we are all interconnected, responsible for one another's well-being.
As we go deeper into these hadiths, I'm realizing that they offer a very balanced perspective on the human experience. They don't shy away from acknowledging the challenges, and difficulties of living a faithful life. But they also offer a message of hope and resilience.
Right. The hadiths acknowledge that faith is not always easy. There will be times when our beliefs are tested, when we face doubt, hardship, and even persecution. Hadith 18, where the Prophet Muhammad talks about a time when Muslims might have to flee with their religion from afflictions, It speaks directly to this reality.
That image of, seeking refuge in the mountains and valleys, protecting one's faith from those who seek to undermine it. It's a powerful one. It speaks to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of belief.
Yeah, and it's crucial to understand this hadith within its historical context, of course. During the Prophet's time, Muslims faced intense persecution and violence. This hadith offered a message of hope and perseverance, urging them to hold fast to their faith, even in the face of adversity.
But it also speaks to a broader truth, wouldn't you say? Throughout history, people of faith have often faced challenges and persecution. Their ability to endure and even thrive in the face of adversity, it's a testament to the strength of their convictions.
Absolutely. And it ties back to that concept of intention we discussed earlier. It's not just about the outward act of fleeing from affliction, but about the inner motivation behind it. Are you doing it out of fear? Or are you doing it to protect your faith, to preserve your connection with God?
Wow. That's a powerful question to consider. It's a reminder that even in difficult times, our choices and actions, they should be guided by our faith, by a desire to please God, uphold our values.
Precisely. And this emphasis on intention is further reinforced in Hadith number 51. Remember, it states that the reward of deeds depends upon the intention.
Right. It's not just about what you do, but why you do it. Your actions must be accompanied by sincere intentions to be truly meaningful in the eyes of God.
I find myself constantly reflecting on this concept. It's a challenge to constantly check my motives, to ensure that my actions are aligned with my values. And my desire to please God, it's a lifelong practice, this striving for sincerity.
It's a struggle I think a lot of us can relate to, regardless of our faith background. We're all trying to figure out how to live authentically, align our actions with our beliefs. And that takes constant effort, self-awareness.
Yeah. You've hit the nail on the head. It's about cultivating a heart that's pure and sincere, a heart that guides our actions toward goodness and righteousness. And this brings us to a set of hadiths, 34, 35, 36, and 37, that delves into the concepts of reward and forgiveness, specifically in relation to acts of worship.
These hadiths, they offer a glimpse, don't they, into the transformative potential of faith. The idea that through sincere devotion, we can purify our hearts and attain a deeper connection with God.
One that stands out is Hadith 34, which describes Laylat al-Qadr, the night of decree, a night of immense spiritual significance during Ramadan. The Prophet Muhammad says that whoever establishes prayers on this night out of sincere faith, hoping to attain God's rewards, will have all their past sins forgiven.
That's incredible. It really speaks to the power of sincere worship, of seeking forgiveness and drawing closer to God. It's a reminder that even in our imperfections, there's always a path back to righteousness.
And this theme of forgiveness and the blessings of sincere worship is echoed in other hadiths as well, like Hadith 36, which talks about the rewards of praying during the nights of Ramadan, and Hadith 37, which focuses on the blessings of fasting during Ramadan.
It seems like Ramadan is a particularly special time for spiritual growth and reflection. It's about pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, testing your limits, and emerging from the experience stronger and more connected to God.
It is. It's a time for Muslims to deepen their connection with God, to purify their hearts, to cultivate a greater sense of gratitude and compassion. And amidst these discussions of striving and seeking reward, I think it's crucial to highlight Hadith number 38. It offers a really important reminder about balance and moderation in faith.
This is the one where the Prophet Muhammad says that religion is very easy, and whoever overburdens themselves in their religion will not be able to continue in that way, right?
Exactly. It's a caution against extremism and rigidity, reminding us that faith should bring, joy and fulfillment, not burden or exhaustion.
Yeah, this message really resonates with me on a personal level. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we need to be doing more, praying more, giving more, that we need to be perfect in every aspect of our faith. But this hadith, it encourages us to find a sustainable path, avoid burnout, prioritize quality over quantity.
It's about recognizing our human limitations and approaching our faith with a sense of ease and balance.
It's like that saying, we are human beings, not human doings. It's a reminder that our worth is not measured by how much we do, but by the sincerity and intention behind our actions. And that brings to mind Hadith number 23, which offers a beautiful example of the Prophet Muhammad's approach to guidance and correction.
Oh, you're thinking of the story where a companion of the Prophet is wearing a similar cloak as his slave. He explains that he was reprimanded by the Prophet. for insulting the slave's mother, and reminded that slaves are brothers in faith and should be treated with dignity and respect.
It's such a powerful story. It challenges us to dismantle hierarchies and embrace that inherent worth and dignity of all human beings, regardless of their social status.
Right. It highlights the Prophet's commitment to creating a society where everyone is treated with fairness and compassion, where social justice is not just an ideal, but a lived reality.
And it brings us back to that idea of embodying faith in our actions. It's not enough to simply believe in equality and justice. We must actively work to create a world that reflects those values. It's about challenging injustice wherever we see it, and treating every individual with the respect and dignity they deserve.
You know, I think that's a powerful message to reflect on as we move into the final part of our deep dive. We've covered so much ground, exploring the complexities of faith, the importance of intention and action, the challenges of hypocrisy, the rewards of righteous deeds, and the transformative power of belief.
It's been an amazing journey so far, and I can't wait to see what other insights we uncover as we continue our exploration.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the foundations of Islamic belief, as found in Sahih Bukhari, Book 2.
You know, as we get into these final hadiths, I'm really struck by how they address some of the most pivotal moments in Islamic history, as well as some of the most challenging aspects of faith.
It's true, they really do. They invite us to consider, how belief plays out in the real world, within a community, and even, on a global scale. Take, for example, Hadith number 17, which recounts the Pledge of Al-Aqaba. Now, this event was crucial in the early development of Islam.
Right. This is where the Prophet Muhammad met secretly with a group of his followers from Medina, and they pledged their allegiance to him and the principles of Islam. At a time when Muslims were facing persecution in Mecca, it was a risky move, full of uncertainty. And yet it laid the groundwork for the expansion of the Muslim community.
Exactly, and the pledge itself is fascinating. It outlines 6 key points. Not associating anything with God in worship, refraining from stealing, abstaining from unlawful sexual relations, not killing one's children, not accusing innocent people, and obeying the Prophet in matters of good deeds.
It's like a blueprint, almost, for an ethical society, emphasizing personal integrity, social responsibility, and obedience to, God's commands. It's striking how these principles resonate with values found in many different cultures and belief systems.
It does. It speaks to a universal desire for justice, fairness, and a moral compass to guide our actions.
And what I find particularly insightful is that the Prophet Muhammad, he acknowledges that human potential for fallibility. He states that those who break the pledge and receive punishment in this world, that punishment will serve as an expiation for their sins.
That's a crucial point. It highlights the Islamic belief in God's mercy and forgiveness, recognizing that, we are all prone to making mistakes, but that sincere repentance and making amends can lead to redemption.
It's a reminder that even when we fall short, there's always a path back to righteousness through seeking forgiveness and striving to, improve our actions.
Now, shifting gears a bit, I want to bring up Hadith number 24, which addresses the concept of fighting in the way of God. This is a topic that's often subject to misinterpretation and controversy, so it's important to approach it with nuance and understanding.
Yeah, I can see how this hadith could be taken out of context. It states that the Prophet Muhammad was commanded to fight against people until they testify to the oneness of God and the prophethood of Muhammad, establish prayer, and pay the zakat. But to interpret this as like a call for forced conversion or aggression towards those who peacefully disagree with Islam, I think that would be a grave misreading.
You're absolutely right. It's crucial to understand this hadith within, the historical context in which it was revealed. During Prophet's time, Muslims faced persecution and violence from those who opposed their beliefs.
So this hadith is best understood as a declaration of the right to defend oneself and one's community against aggression and oppression.
Precisely. The emphasis is on establishing a just and peaceful society where people are free to practice their faith without fear of persecution. And, it's vital to remember that Islamic teachings prioritize peace, diplomacy, resolving conflicts through dialogue and reconciliation whenever possible.
So this hadith, when understood within its proper context, I think reinforces that Islamic commitment to justice, peace, and the protection of religious freedom for all.
Now let's transition to Hadith number 25, which, in contrast to the previous one, focuses on peaceful striving and highlights the best deeds in Islam.
I remember this one. Someone asked the Prophet about the best deed, and he replies that the best deed is to believe in God and his messenger. And the person asks about, the next best deed. And the Prophet says to participate in jihad in God's cause.
Right. And again, it's crucial to understand the concept of jihad within its proper context. While it can include armed struggle and self-defense, its broader meaning encompasses, striving in the way of God, which includes acts of spiritual purification, personal growth, and fighting against injustice and oppression.
So jihad is not synonymous with violence. It's a multifaceted concept that includes both inner and outer struggles.
You got it. And the person further inquires about the next best deed, and the Prophet responds, to perform Hajj Mabrur. Now, this refers to a pilgrimage that is accepted by God, performed with sincerity and without any showing off or sin.
It's fascinating how even acts of worship that are, outwardly focused, like Hajj, are ultimately about inner transformation, about purifying one's intentions and seeking a deeper connection with God.
It's about aligning our outward actions with our inner state, striving for, a wholeness of being. This is a key theme that emerges throughout these hadiths.
I want to touch on a hadith that really made me think, hadith number 26. It's the one where the Prophet Muhammad is distributing zakat and leaves out a man whom the narrator considers like a very good Muslim.
Right. This hadith really challenges our assumptions about God's judgment and the criteria for salvation. The Prophet's reasoning for leaving that man out is that he fears Allah might throw him on his face into the fire.
It's a sobering reminder, isn't it, that we can't presume to know who is truly deserving of God's favor. There are aspects of God's mercy and justice that are beyond human comprehension.
It is. It's a call for humility, recognizing that we should focus on our own spiritual growth rather than judging others or assuming we are, more deserving of God's mercy.
Yeah. It's a powerful reminder that we are all in need of God's grace.
This focus on inner sincerity is beautifully illustrated in Hadith number 54, where Jarir bin Abdullah describes his pledge of allegiance to the Prophet Muhammad.
He pledges to offer prayers perfectly, pay the zakat, and be sincere and true to every Muslim. It's such a simple statement, but it speaks volumes, about the importance of living out our faith with integrity.
It does. It highlights that true faith is not just about outward rituals, but about cultivating inner qualities like sincerity, honesty, and trustworthiness. And this pledge is reiterated in Hadith number 55, where Jarir emphasizes his commitment to being sincere and true to every Muslim, even in the face of a leadership transition.
It's a reminder that our faith should guide our interactions with others, especially during times of uncertainty or upheaval.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to share one final hadith that speaks to the universality of faith and the transformative power of belief. It's Hadith number 48, which recounts a conversation between Abu Sufyan, a Meccan leader who initially opposed Islam, and Heraclius, the Byzantine emperor.
Oh, Heraclius was known for his wisdom and curiosity. He questioned Abu Sufyan about the followers of Muhammad and was struck by the fact that their numbers were increasing. He recognized this as a characteristic of true faith, stating that it will continue to grow and expand until it is complete.
Right. It's a powerful testament to the enduring power of truth and the innate human desire for spiritual fulfillment. And what's even more striking is that, when Heraclius asks if anyone who embraces Islam later becomes displeased and leaves the faith, Abu Sufyan says no. Once the delight of faith enters the heart, it becomes an inseparable part of one's being.
That speaks to the transformative power of belief, doesn't it? Its ability to bring joy, peace, a sense of belonging that is difficult to abandon.
It does. It suggests that true faith connects with something deep within the human heart, something that transcends, cultural boundaries and speaks to our shared longing for meaning and purpose.
This has been an incredible journey. Exploring these hadiths from Sahih Bukhari has been like uncovering a treasure trove of wisdom, insights into the nature of belief, the importance of action, and the constant struggle to align our lives with what we hold to be true.
I couldn't agree more. These teachings offer a timeless roadmap, don't they? For navigating the complexities of faith, they inspire us to live more authentically and compassionately.
And remember, you can always delve deeper into these concepts by exploring the Echoes of Ihsan podcast. They offer contemporary reflections on these timeless teachings and can provide another layer of understanding as you continue your exploration.
As we conclude this deep dive, I want to encourage you all to reflect on what resonated most with you. How can you apply the principles of sincerity, intention, and action to your own life, regardless of your faith background?
What small steps can you take to embody these values, in your interactions with others, in your pursuit of knowledge, and in your efforts to, make a positive difference in the world.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating topic. Until then, keep seeking, keep learning, and keep striving to be the best version of yourself.